Welcome to the Hockey Writers Chicks and Sticks, a weekly show hosted by some of our best female hockey writers, bringing you the latest news, rumors, trades, player grades, game results, and much more. From talking hockey with NHL personalities to tackling the latest big issues, our team covers everything hockey and more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some Chicks and Sticks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 26 of Chicks and Sticks, brought to you by the Hockey Writers. My name is Melissa Wood, and I'm once again joined by my partners in crime, Hannah Garfield and Mariah Stark. How are you doing tonight, ladies?
Surviving better than Mariah.
Mariah had some computer issues before the show, so hopefully she hangs in with us for the duration. Unfortunately, Christy couldn't be with us tonight. She's on New Jersey Devils duty, but don't fret because we have a very special guest with us this week, Ben Fisher, who is our colleague at THW. He covers the Vegas Golden Knights. So I'm guessing you can probably imagine what we're going to talk to him about. The big trade that happened last week. But just before we get into that, I just wanted to remind you that if you're liking our show, make sure to drop us a like, a comment from wherever you're watching or listening. You can watch us everywhere on video or on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Google, Spotify, all that fun. So let's get right into it. Let's talk Vegas. Let's talk Jack Eichel, because we can't get enough of this topic. So Ben, as our resident expert at THW, we wanted to get your thoughts on the trade. So I think the girls have a few questions for you. Hannah, go ahead. I think Hannah, you have the first one.
I do. So, obviously there was talks of Eichel going to Vegas for weeks. But when it actually happened, what was your initial reaction to the trade? And were you hoping that it was going to shake out with Eichel in Vegas?
Well, it never seemed fully possible, right? Like it almost seemed that from the $10 million cap hit and the injury issues, it just felt like for as long as the saga drew out, it just didn't seem like there was any point where the light at the end of the tunnel was visible. There was an endpoint to all of this. So even with all the rumors, all the buzz, I think there was still certainly a surprise element last week when not only did he get traded, but it was to Vegas, who's already capped out and already not lacking for star power. It's funny, the trade overall, I'm obviously I cover the Knights, but I'm also a big fan of the NBA's Toronto Raptors. And it really reminded me of a couple of years ago when the Raptors traded for Kawhi Leonard. In both cases, the Knights and the Raptors, it was both sort of perennial playoff teams that couldn't quite get over the hump. And so they just, in both cases, there was obviously a big gamble being taken. And for the Raps, it paid off with a championship. And I guess we'll see what comes of it in Vegas.
Were you okay with what Vegas gave up to get him, or do you think the price is too high?
I give Kevin Adams and the Sabres a lot of credit. They weren't exactly operating from a position of a ton of leverage, but I think they still managed to squeeze out a couple of very real, very legitimate assets. That being said, I look at the package and Alex Tuch, he has a 20-goal season. He's 25, but he's also actually a few months older than Eichel. So from that standpoint, I don't think it's a big loss for Vegas, especially considering he's sort of a middle six guy, not really a top line forward. And Krebs could turn into a pretty good center. I do like his ceiling as a prospect, but again, you've got to give up something to get something, and Vegas with a sort of veteran-laden roster that's ready to win now, taking the sure thing over the prospect, I don't necessarily see as a bad move. And then obviously we're hoping that these draft picks are later on in the round, in the first and third round, and not exactly lofty picks. So I think overall, I'd say it's a trade that worked out for both sides. And then we'll obviously see how it all breaks down.
Yes, so Vegas has a ton of injuries right now, but when everybody does get healthy, including Eichel, they're going to be facing a real cap crunch, as you've alluded to. So how do you see that all kind of them fitting the pieces together? And I guess, are there more moves that are going to need to be made to make room for everybody?
I think you hit the nail on the head right there. And I think, as per Mariah's question, I don't think we're done seeing what the total cost of Jack Eichel is yet, because I think that right now Vegas is obviously they've got some injury issues, so they've got a number of guys in long-term injury reserve. But all told, if you put all these salaries together, you've got a cap hit of something like, I think, 10 million over the cap. So needless to say, that's going to need to get cleaned up at some point as these guys get healthy. And I don't think I think it's going to take a little more than dumping a few lesser contracts down in the minors. I think they're going to need to get rid of another significant salary or two. And the two guys that I know have been speculated on the most are Riley Smith, who's making $5 million and is a free agent at the end of the year, and Evgeny Dadonov, who's also making $5 million, who's also got a $5 million cap hit, is signed for next year, but at the same time is a top 9 forward who might now be deemed expendable. Kelly McCrimmon has a couple months to worry about it before Eichel and co get back in the lineup, but there's definitely the other shoe's got to drop at some point, and there's definitely more work to be done.
And I guess I just thought of this question right now, but I wanted your take on it. Everyone's talking about, this super line with Eichel, Stone, and Pacioretty, who all three of them are injured right now. But is that how you see it also? Or would you like to see that line? Which may be a stupid question. But
well, no, it's worth getting excited about. You gotta get ready for it. And I do think that's the way it's going to go. I think that Eichel slots in pretty seamlessly in the middle of the top line. And Chandler Stevenson has been the de facto number one, and he's doing a great job. He's their leading scorer so far this year, but he's clearly playing a bit above his head, I would say. And for him to drop down as a number 2 or number 3 guy, I think just really solidifies our depth down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of that first line, I've seen some rankings where it's already included in one of the top 10 lines in the league or something. Pretty high praise for a group that hasn't come close to playing together. But we'll see. It makes sense. I mean, Pete DeBoer has kept together the second line of William Karlsson, Riley Smith, and John Marchessault at pretty much all costs. So part of it's not just fantasy to put the 3 top guys together. It looks like a very realistic scenario where we're going to get a look at 3 pretty talented star players all together.
Should be fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely.
I have another question, but Mariah and Mel, you can answer this too. But this is just what I've been thinking about since the trade is, when Vegas is healthy, are they the most likely to win the Stanley Cup?
I mean, they definitely. I would say one of the reasons last season why they were upset by the Canadians is their lack of depth at center, because Chandler Stevenson was injured during the series, and so you could really tell that it was a weakness for them. So I think, like anytime you can add a game changer like Jack Eichel, you're instantly in the contender conversation. They've started off a bit slow, but I think, if he fits in seamlessly. It's hard not to pick them out of the West for sure. Anyway.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, on paper, I think that we're looking at one of the most talented rosters in the league. But Mel, you said it right there that if he fits in, and by the time he comes back, we're going to be talking about a guy who's not only coming off surgery, but hasn't played in over a year, I think. Trying to acclimate with a new team. And so, I mean, there's still a lot of questions to answer here. And I'm not sure that the couple months of regular season that he might get in will necessarily be enough to get it done. That said, he's locked in long term, and we've got a number of assets that are all here for for the foreseeable future. And so if it's not this year, then I do think that we're going to be looking like a real threat within the next 2 or 3 seasons for sure.
I think they will miss Alex Tuck though, especially for the playoffs. I mean, having them played the Habs last year, I mean, he's a tough customer. So they're going to miss him. But yeah, the center position was something that needed to be addressed for sure. All right. So, I mean, we could talk about Eichel all night, but there are other fun things happening in the league right now, including a lot of really impressive rookies so far this season. It seems every year this is the case where the young players really just stand out, and it's become a real young person's league. I know that our friends at Prospect Corner have been talking about the Calder Trophy race for a couple of weeks now, throwing out some names, but I wanted to ask you guys which rookie has really impressed you so far through 10 games? Mariah, we can start with you for this one.
I haven't seen a lot of rookies, I'll honestly say it. I haven't watched a lot of other games besides the Wild, partially because they play so late at night, so I just don't even try to look for other games. But I've heard his name repetitively, and it's Lucas Raymond. Like, I swear every time I pull something up regarding the NHL or my phone flashes, it's something to do with him. And I would say I have 2 answers. I would say him as far as like Calder. I mean, he's got 14 points in 14 games. So he's on a path of like Kaprizov was last year.
Yeah. And
as far as like a rookie who's really surprised me, I'm going to have to do my bias again and say Brandon Duhaime. I'm surprised saying it wrong. He literally has come out of nowhere for the Wild. When I watched their preseason, I had no idea who he was. And then all of a sudden it's like he is everywhere, and he hasn't been sent back down yet. So I've been really impressed. Yeah, for sure. Hannah, what about you?
I'm going to go with Raymond's teammate, Moritz Seider. So I mean, I think those are the 2 big names that are being tossed around right now. I think I watched the Bruins play Detroit the other day, and I mean, they're so impressive watching them on the ice. You don't look at them and think they're rookies. You think that they've been around the league for a while, and not that they have only, a couple of games of experience. And I also will have a second choice to go with my bias. Jeremy Swayman continues to be impressive in net. He's the goalie of the future for Bruins. And I mean, there's so much to like about him on the ice, off the ice. His answers in the media are hilarious. So, I mean, I think that like Mariah, like Mel, you said, there's a lot of great rookies and a lot of things to be excited about with the young players in the league.
For sure. Ben, who's caught your eye?
Well, I should have seen it coming, but Hannah and Mariah definitely stole my 2. But it's a great sign for the Red Wings franchise that I mean, it's a great sign for Stevie Y that he's been drafting and developing on that level so far. I also think it's just been pretty incredible to see a pretty deep Calder race developing. I mean, Mariah even said Duhaime wasn't on anyone's radar ahead of the season, and he's starting to show out a little bit. And I think that in a year where, what was it? The first pick, second pick, like four guys in the top 10 went back to college. So you would think that would pretty much torpedo any Calder hopes, but any hopes of a competitive Calder race. But it's been great so far. And my apologies to you, Melissa, on Cole Caulfield's start.
I was going to bring him up, and it's okay, because I was going to say the player everybody thought was going to run away with the Calder, like there was going to be no competition, is Cole Caulfield, and well, he's in the AHL at the moment. So just goes to show you how, like you said, things are very unpredictable. But Cole will be back, and we'll be back with a vengeance. I'm not sure when, but it will happen.
He'll have a great career, and this will just be a little blip in the
exactly. So I'm not so worried. But I'm with you guys. I hope that our friends at the grind line are watching, that we're giving their players this much love. And the crazy thing is that the Red Wings have so many of these top prospects coming through the pipeline. Like there's going to be 2 or 3 more next season. So Stevie Y is doing a heck of a job over there.
They're currently in 3rd in the Atlantic Division, which I think most people consider one of the hardest divisions in this league. So that says so much about how well they're developing. And
I just find Raymond and Sider, they play with such maturity. Like you would never know that they were rookies, just the way they, can manage the game and all that. It's really impressive. So yeah, definitely look out for the Red Wings, because they're coming for us. Their dynasty is being built as we speak. All right, 3rd topic. Well, it continues to be an eventful few weeks in the NHL. We had another coach firing in the recent days. So Jeremy Colliton was let go by the Chicago Blackhawks after their miserable start, let's put it that way. He was replaced by interim head coach Derek King, and it looks like they're back on the upswing. He's got a great attitude, and he looks like he's sort of injected some new life into that team. But I wanted to know, so the Blackhawks now have an interim GM as well, and an interim head coach, so a lot of change coming to them. What I want to know is, who do you think, if it's not the 2 currently in place, so Kyle Davidson is the interim GM and Derek King, as I said, is the interim head coach, who do you think would be, maybe not necessarily a name, but the type of coach or type of GM that this team needs, this franchise needs to get themselves back to their usual standing? Hannah, we'll start with you on this question.
Yeah, I can't say exact names of who I think would be the best fit, but what I know I would like to see is someone new. Because I feel like in the NHL and the NFL, in most sports leagues, the same coaches just cycle around, and they keep, having losing seasons, getting a new coaching job, having a success or 2, get fired, get another head coaching job. And it's like, I think the NHL could really benefit from some new blood at the head coaching position, instead of just the same guys cycling in and out of these teams. So what I really, really want to see is someone brand new. I mean, Jeremy Colliton was that a couple of years ago. And I do think that someone young would benefit, because they also, Chicago has such a young team right now. I think keeping with a youngish coach, maybe not as young as Colliton, but just I really want to see somebody new out there.
Yeah, good point. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, I think what Hannah's getting at with regards to something of a fresh start, obviously in light of Stan Bowman being there, and I mean there's certainly a cleansing of the front office culture that's required. I think on one hand, it's a big opportunity. You've got this wholesale change coming for a major market, an original 6 teams. So I think there's still a lot of appeal to the job there, but it's not going to be without its faults. I think that, there are some good young pieces there, but there's also a bit of a holdover presence where, both Kane and Taves are going to be heading into the last year of their deal. Marc-Andre Fleury's obviously got his contract coming up, and he's getting up there in age. So this is sort of a team that, I mean, obviously there's an issue in there. There's a mess in the front office to clean up, but on the ice too, there's a bit of a transition phase coming here, and it's hard to know what the future looks like in Chicago right now. So I think whoever they hire to oversee hockey ops here, I think is going to have a major influence on the long-term vision for the club and see where we're going.
Yeah, for sure. Mariah, any thoughts on this?
I would agree with Hannah, but if they don't decide to go a new route and they look for someone to replace the interim, I'm going to say it. I would like to see Torts back.
Yep.
Just because I don't know. I personally, before, I wasn't a fan, but ever since I've seen him doing like broadcasting and stuff, which maybe is where he should be, but I would personally like to see him with a new team, like just where this team is at, trying to just go with a fresh start and rebuild. I mean, I know he's not new, but he could be that veteran that can kind of maybe lead them on another path. As far as a GM, I think Hannah should take the spot.
Yes, you would fix their salary cap, Rose. Like that. I know it.
Should have a big no 8-year contract button.
Yeah. That was my, like, at one point in my life, I was like, maybe I should really start trying to get myself onto a path to try to become an NHL GM. And then I was like, I'm not a player. I'm also not a male. So that's probably not going to happen in my lifetime.
Hey, you never know. You could break a lot of barriers. Yeah, I think that you mentioned Torts, Mariah, but I think also one name that I'm hearing too to sort of become the president of the club is Eddie Olczyk, who is obviously really well liked in Chicago, and I think that's the kind of figure they need, as you say, to do a little bit of cleansing, which is much needed. So I could definitely see that happening, and then him deciding from there how he wants to go. And we'll see. But yeah, it's interesting because Stan Bowman, before he left, was supposed to be rebuilding, and then this offseason decided, yeah, never mind the rebuild. We're going to go get Marc-Andre Fleury and Seth Jones and Brian, McCabe and all these guys. So it's like, okay, well, I'm not really sure where they're going. So yeah, lots of work for the new GM when they are hired.
Exactly.
I had Chicago as like doing so well this season. Like they were like my preseason choices for everything, and I've been severely let down so far.
Well, I know that
that
our friends at Blackhawks Banter have been calling for Colliton to be fired for a long time. So I think they saw the writing on the wall. It's nice to have someone new. But it felt like he was a bit in over his head, unfortunately. I wouldn't be surprised if he popped up somewhere else. But yeah, I know it was a happy day over at Blackhawks when it finally happened. All right, so end the show with our little bit of fun, I guess. Something that you're looking forward to over the next week or so, or next few days in the NHL, or something that you really liked over, caught your eye this past week that kind of made you smile, and because we all need that these days. Mariah, anything to share?
Last night, before my TV subscription kicked me off my game, Kaprizov doing the wraparound goal last night, and Fiala's, I don't know how the heck he did it, goal.
Yeah, that was insane.
I was just like, all right, this is good. And then my TV subscription said I can't watch anymore. So
I pity you guys in the US. You guys have real problems with your TV coverage. Ben
used to.
Geez. I feel bad. Ben, what are you looking forward to, or what did you like from this?
Well, back last week, how can you not go with the McDavid goal against the Rangers? Like, that was ridiculous. You look at what he's coming in, like crossing the blue line, what he's coming into, and the fact that he just cruises right through four guys, like it was just inhuman. In terms of what's coming up, I'm a big Hall of Fame guy, so finally having the 2020 class is going to be inducted on Monday, and so seeing Iggy and there's and Hossa, and there's a couple guys. It's a pretty good class, and it just a nice little event that appeases the traditionalist in me. So
it's true. It's been so long and I almost forget about it. But yeah, for sure, I enjoy it as well.
I had to go refresh on who was going in.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned a few names because I was like, who are they? I don't remember.
And we got Kim St. Pierre, Kenny Holland, Doug
That's
Wilson.
right. Yes.
I think I got it now.
Coming back to me now. Hannah, what about you?
Well, I guess it's happening right now, but the Bruins are hosting Kobe Cave night because they're playing the Oilers tonight. So I think that's really great that they're able to do that. And they have Emily Cave, his wife, there, and she was dropping the puck. So I'm happy that, the two teams were able to come together and honor Colby Cave like that.
Yes, very nice. That should be really nice. Well, for me, there's two. I have to mention Carey Price. I know we talked about him last week, but I just, I think I speak for a lot of people in Habsland just to say how proud I am of what he did this week, courageously sharing his story. I can't imagine how difficult that must have been. And I think he's just going to help so many people by sharing his story that way. And hopefully he takes his time to come back. But it's great to see that he's doing better. And yeah, just want to say that. And what I'm looking forward to, well, it's also Boston related because the Habs and the Bruins will be renewing their rivalry on Saturday night. Feels like forever since they've played each other. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think first time since 2020 or something like that. So
I'll love to see if we're friends. This is the first time
I know
playing each other.
This is the first time that our team is playing each other. Actually, it's the first time I think that any of our teams on the show are playing each other. So we'll see. We'll see if we're still friends next week.
Bruins play Devils.
The Wild and Vegas are playing tonight.
So there you go. So
it's on.
Yes, I'm looking forward to renewing that on Saturday. So if Hannah and I are not speaking next week, you know what? No, I'm just. All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this week. Thanks as always for a great show. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. It was great having a guest.
Ladies. This was a lot of fun.
It's been a while since we had a guest, so it was a lot of fun. We may not let Chrissy back, but we may just have you come on next week. But
yeah, bye, Chrissy.
I'm all for it. So yeah, forget about her.
You're out, Chrissy. Thanks to all of you viewers and listeners for tuning in. We really appreciate all the support. Again, be sure to check out all of the other shows being produced by the Hockey Raiders on a daily basis on YouTube and on your favorite podcast platform. Also, if you want to look for us, you're going to find us because we are everywhere. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Discord for all you fun, cool people, not like me. Also, make sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, which I had to make sure that Chrissy's replacement also is on Morning Skate. So there you go. Make sure you sign up for that awesome newsletter, morningskate.io.
Please do. Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, well, I have to because it's great. It really is good. I read it every day, so every morning. So I'm happy to give you the plug. And and make sure that you're following your favorite team with our daily team downloads. So a lot of our teams are putting together all the latest info about your favorite teams, stats from the latest game, injury updates, all that fun stuff. So if you've missed out on something, go check those out. They're published daily every morning. So make sure to check those out. And yeah, we'll see you next week.